My name is Lori Armstrong, and I'm a computer instructor at the Thunder Bay Literacy Group.
And
And yeah, go
yeah,
ahead,
and
Daniel.
I'm Daniel Russell-Matthews. I'm the program director, and I'm also trades exam and sport instructor at the Thunder Bay Literacy Group. So I'll start off and talk the next little bit about kind of like a general overview of the literacy group and what to sort of expect with our programming, and just like talk as like a more generalized version of what's going on, because we can talk about the digital literacy skills as well as some of the other things that we offer, because sometimes individuals might want to come in for more than one thing, so we want to be able to support people in the whole learning journey. But the basics of it is that the Thunder Bay Literacy Group is a not-for-profit organization. We're based in Thunder Bay, and we can serve Thunder Bay and the region. We can have people come into our center and do in-person services where we can help out. And I know sometimes doing stuff on the computer, trying to figure things out, having somebody there to support you along the way definitely makes things a little bit easier sometimes. So we like to be able to provide that support. But then we also do remote services as well. So say like we're doing right now, rather than a presentation, we can sometimes do learning opportunities where we'll have these types of discussions and do online learning as well. So we'll blend things and figure things out based on where people are and what's going on and what's going to work best for them. And the nice thing about all of it is that everything that we do is free. We get funding from the Ministry of Immigration, Training, and Skills Development. They give us money to be able to provide free programming to anybody in the community, like in the community and in the region. And we have like a certain area that we can help out. So the big thing is we really want to be able to provide free customized help to people. So if somebody comes into our center and says, I'm struggling with being able to apply for work, and I need help with like the application process, but you know what, my email writing can be a little bit better, then we can start things up and say like our English class, and then we can start things up in the computer class. So everything will be customized to you. So we figure out a schedule that's going to work best for each person who comes in. We're going to figure out a learning plan that's going to work best. Sometimes people need a schedule where it's, hey, you know what, I can only function in the morning. I have my coffee and then I'm ready to go. And then it's, yeah, we'll work with that. Some people we have some night classes available. So we'll work with things where it'll usually be like once or twice a week, come on in, and then we'll set things up, and we'll set up that learner plan so that we can make sure that things work at a pace that works for each person coming through, because sometimes some people might take a little bit longer to learn something, like especially if it's something like, say, when we're talking about the computer, where something might be it might be all entirely new. So we want to take the time to be able to make sure that it might take several months of just practicing stuff over and over again, just to make sure that we're solidified on certain concepts and can keep moving forward. But then we also sometimes have it where sometimes people just need sort of like quick fixes, and just like, okay, I have a few of these questions here and there, can we set up a game plan for this? And that's where sometimes we do some of the training that, like, say, Lori is going to highlight later, where we might have a specific course where it's like, hey, you can sign up for this. But we also do things where it'll be based on your needs and everything, and we'll help you sort of set goals and figure out what's going to work best, because sometimes it's hard to know like what do I even want to learn, because there's just so much to learn out there. So it's okay, what's going to be useful for you, what's going to be important for you, and we'll take the time to work with you on that. And the nice thing is that we have a group of just very passionate staff here, who everybody really wants to see everybody succeed. So you're going to be in good hands no matter where it is that you come at us with the organization. So like I kind of alluded to, we do not just the digital stuff, which is what we're mostly going to be focusing on today, which is incredibly important, but we also do reading, writing, math, and like exam support upgrading. So if somebody is preparing for some sort of testing, or if they just want help with their writing skills or just day-to-day math, so they can budget a little bit better. Any of that sort of stuff, we do all of that and we do it for free. So it's a very wide range of topics that we cover. So if you're thinking about using our services, like it's something where if it's just the computer skills, that's not a problem. We'll gladly help out with that. But sometimes it's a little bit more than that, and we'll definitely help out with that as well. So that's the sort of big overview of the organization and what we're about. And I like to emphasize free. Seriously, it's all free. What I'm going to do is hand it over to
All right.
Lori, and
Thank
she
you,
can talk
Dan.
about.
Yeah, as Dan said, I am a computer skills instructor at the Learning Center, but we do have a lot of other things that we can offer too. So Dan has given us a good little intro into what the Thunder Bay Literacy Group is. And he's talked a little bit already about what the training options are and how the classes work. I'm going to get into more um, the kinds of things that we see in the computer skills class or the digital skills class, and also some of the community workshops and program examples, resources that we use a lot. As Dan said, here in Thunder Bay, we have free training in all of these areas: math, English, digital skills, GED prep, and you don't have to be high school age. I think we had a learner just a few months ago who was I think in her 60s who got her
Yeah,
GED and was very proud of it.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I
so
actually think
it
70s. Yeah.
70, yeah, it could be. Uh, yeah, and our age ranges are all the way from 18 years old up to infinity. So we are here for any adult in our region. And trades prep as well. That's certainly more geared to going into the workforce. But when you come to our learning center, you can have goals just to be more independent for yourself, or for work, as in paid work or community work that you're doing, or to go just continue your education, to get into some other school program that you're interested in. So all of those are totally valid. And like Dan said, it's very self-paced. So you can decide if you just want to come and learn something that you think will only take a couple of weeks, or it could be something that might take you a year. And a big part of us having in-person classes that we're really happy about now that some of the pandemic restrictions have been lifted is that because it's an adult learning center, people share and learn a lot from each other as adults, because everyone has so different life experiences and all kinds of expertise from everything. And when we say self-directed learning, what that can look like is that we have small group classes that right now could have up to 6 people in them with our kind of our distancing that we're doing. But in that group of 6 people, each person might be working on something different. And the instructor will be circulating around among them, guiding them or coaching them, or giving them access to different resources that they need. But it's very much you go at your own pace and you choose exactly what you want to work on. And we'll set up a plan with you so that you have a list of things that you're working on. But on any given day, that's flexible according to what your priorities are. And we periodically have kind of check-ins that we do informally with you, or we might say, okay, if you feel ready, you can demonstrate this skill, and then we get to tick a box on your learning plan and say, woohoo, you've completed this step. And in addition to the classes, we do also have community workshops that we can set up. And we do these with different partner groups in the community. There have been lots of different organizations that we've been working with lately to set up. Sometimes they're just one-time, 2-hour workshops where people will come and just learn to do one thing, like I want to learn how to take pictures on my phone, for example. Or sometimes they might be 4 or 6 week kind of on Wednesdays at this time, we're all going to meet for 2 hours and work on, some basic computer skills, for example, or basic internet safety. And so if you are part of an organization and you're in Thunder Bay, you can offer free instructor-led workshops where everybody's working on the same thing. And that can be not just in computer skills, it can also be for math or, for example, financial budgeting and spending tracking, that kind of a thing, or English, or any of our subject areas is open for that. When it comes to digital skills, I wanted to share a few of the examples of if you came into our computer class, what we could look at together to decide what you wanted to work on. Because that's something that I found happens a lot. Someone will come in as a new computer student, and I will say, "Okay, what do you want to learn?" And they'll say, "Computers. I want to learn computers." That's a lot of different things, depending on what you want to use the computer for, or if it's even a computer. If it might be a cell phone, or it might be a tablet that you're using, or it might be a combination of all of those. Because the digital world has grown so fast and become such a big part of everybody's life on a daily basis, it can be really bewildering if you're someone who hasn't properly been trained in that. And I find a lot of the people coming to our computer classes now are older adults who are being asked to use these tools, but no one has ever shown them how, or told them, explain properly how the digital world works. So that's why I think our classes are really important, and because they can help people fill in those gaps for themselves so they don't feel intimidated by technology, or they don't feel worried about doing something wrong, or being at risk, because so many online things have become more dangerous too over time. Yeah, there's a lot of scams out there that you have to be aware of. So if someone comes in and wants to be part of the computer class, but they're not sure where to start with their learning, then we often will do like an assessment like this digital literacy one. This is an example from a Minnesota organization called North Star. And they have a little section here where you can test your digital literacy and see what you know. Uh, So often we will take a look at some of the different areas that people want to learn about. So it could be essential computer skills, just the basics, like how does the computer work? How do I operate the computer? Or it could be internet basics. How do I get online and be safe? How do I use email? And then depending on what kind of a device you have, whether it's a PC, like a little laptop or a desktop computer that uses Windows from Microsoft, or it might be an Apple computer that uses the Mac operating system. So those are kind of in the group of essential computer skills. And then if someone has mastered those, they might also want to do essential software skills. So this would be what they call the office suite, right? These are things that people use a lot in schools or in workplaces now. So if you're thinking about upgrading your skills to get a part-time job, for example, knowing how to create files in Word or Excel or PowerPoint. Those are just examples of programs that make files that people use all the time now to communicate or to share information. Or if you're not using a Windows computer or the Windows Office suite, you might use Google Docs instead if you use Gmail and all of the Google programs. But these are considered essential software skills because they're things that people use on a daily basis when they're at work or at school. But then some people aren't really interested in that so much. They don't want to create lots of files or documents, but they do want to use technology in their daily life. So that would involve things like learning about social media. Lots of times people want to connect with their friends and family on Facebook, for example, or Instagram. But they're worried because they don't really know how it works, or they're not worried about privacy because sometimes if you put your information out on social media, it can be open to the public when you don't actually want it to. And sharing too much of your personal information can cause problems for you. People always say, "Oh, nobody cares about me. I'm just this insignificant little person," but having your personal information out on the internet is very different from uh, just being in one small town. It means anywhere around the world, someone can access that information and start using it for different purposes, or pretending to be you, or just trying to involve you in some kind of scam. So learning about social media, how to protect yourself, and how to use it for what you want to use it for, and to connect with people that you want to communicate with, is really important. And information literacy also comes with that because you see a lot of things out on the internet and it's hard to know what to believe or where to get uh, useful and true information sometimes. So if you like getting news from different sources, for example, that then information literacy is a really important skill to have too. So that helps you discern what is trustworthy and what is not. Some people want career search skills because the world of work has been changing a lot, and a lot of jobs are now advertised online. So you need to know how to look for jobs online and how to apply for them. And then if you get, lots of times email is the way that people respond to those job applications. So career search skills and job application skills are also a big one. And health appointments now are being done online a lot. So that can be a goal someone might have, is learning how to use those easily. Or using online meetings in general. If you manage to get here to this webinar today, then you're already doing pretty well with that in being able to join an online meeting. But when it's something like your health, you want to be really sure that you understand how to access the meeting with no problem too. And understanding your digital footprint, again, that is a little bit connected with social media. Understanding, again, how to protect your own privacy and make sure that you know where your personal information is being looked at or stored, and that you can keep things private. And also that yeah, if you are active in different ways online, you understand how those communications that you put out on the internet stick around because they don't just disappear. They're not invisible. And then if you are involved with anyone who is a student, especially over the pandemic, there was a lot of distance learning that happened from home, and so a lot of parents and grandparents and caregivers had to learn a lot really fast about how to support people that were doing their regular school on a computer from home. So that's something that someone might want to learn more about too. So these are 3 examples of areas where we would do kind of assessments and see which of these are you most interested in, and then we would make a plan for you based on what areas those were. And each of these has a checklist inside of it with all the breakdown of what are the different things you should be able to do if you're learning this. So I mean, depends a lot on how the person would like to learn. We can do a couple of these things at a time and break it up a little so you're not just slogging it out working on one thing all day. But yeah, the North Star is a really good example of an assessment tool that we use. And then when we're actually doing the learning, a lot of it is just interacting in class together because most people learn best when they're doing it with someone and when they have a chance to practice in a hands-on way. So lots of times we'll just practice doing the thing you want to do. We'll practice making documents, or we'll practice using a phone or a tablet, and using your device if you want, or you can use our computers in the classroom. But if some people prefer a more structured approach, and that's where this GCF Global website is awesome. This website, they've been building it for about 20 years now, and it's a really well thought out, well organized educational website. So they have tutorials with lessons in them for all different kinds of things you might want to learn. And if you go to this GCF Global website, um, they have all kinds of topics that would probably be great. So if you want to learn Word or Excel or PowerPoint, you could just click into the tutorial, click on the tutorial you want, for example, Word Basics, and then they have a whole bunch of different lessons. So you could either start at lesson 1, getting started as though you know nothing, or if you want to refresh. And when you click into the lesson, it's got a combination of videos and text. So you can either read the text and look at the diagrams if you're kind of a reading or visual learner. Got all kinds of illustrations. Or you can watch the videos if you're someone that learns better by seeing an action done in real time, for example. And of course, while you're doing this, they also have example files that you can use to practice with. But aside from the traditional technology learning, that they have here. They also have a lot of other things. They've got internet skills, including online safety, um, Google Suite skills, work and career planning. They have a great section here called Skills for Today that talks about how the world has been changing and some good things that you might want to know about, if you are into any of these things. Adapting to change, 3D printing, wearables, which are like little computers you can wear like a watch or something like that. But they also go into things like decision making. What are some examples of ways you can make decisions? And they have some creative ones here too. So if you're into photography, for example, or you want to start knowing how to work with the photos on your devices. And then they also have some core skills here like math, reading, language learning, and things like that. So the GCF Learn Free website is one that I always recommend too. So I have been recommending the Cyber Seniors website as a good resource for learners, including the YouTube section, because there are all kinds of awesome videos here. If you go to the actual YouTube channel for Cyber Seniors, it's pretty great. There are some wonderful humor ones. If you go to the English tech sessions, then they've got all kinds of how-tos, beginner's guide to online shopping, for example. And you can see on each video how long it's going to take to play. Some of them are only 5 minutes and some of them are up to half an hour. There's some on cybersecurity. They have different languages, which is kind of great. And then they even have tech tutorials for how to do different things on whether it's your iPhone, your iPad, or an Android phone, or a different kind of tablet. And they even have videos created by seniors for seniors, which is great. And they're not just on tech topics either. They're all about health and living life and enjoying yourself. So yeah, I do consider the Cyber Seniors website and their YouTube channel to be a pretty great resource as well. We have done some community workshops, like 4 or 6 week sessions of computer basics for seniors and elders, and that's been awesome. The first ones we did were during the pandemic when everybody was stuck at home and people were having a really hard time communicating and just feeling like they were still part of the community. So during those 6-week workshops that we did with some of our partners, we were able to help a lot of seniors like stay connected with friends and families because they learned how to use Zoom. And we helped them get access to devices and internet connections if they didn't have them. And they were able to start feeling safer searching online or even doing signing up for email and starting to use that kind of a thing. And finding entertainment online, things like YouTube or Tubi, where they could have some resources. And also access community programs that were online. So if one of the community centers was having an exercise program online, then we helped the seniors be able to access that so that they were able to do things from home and feel like they were staying in touch. A lot of times we get people coming in saying they just want to know how to use this such and such phone or tablet. So for some reason they've gotten a phone, but they're really frustrated because it didn't come with any kind of printed manual. And so they've just been kind of doing the basics with it and they want to really actually understand how it works and feel like they're the manager or the driver of their phone. Lots of times I compare it to it's like someone selling you a car and not assuming you know how to drive it and you know all the traffic rules and regulations, but you haven't actually had any driver's training. So if you get a device and it's really new to you, lots of times people come to us and say, this is my goal. I want to learn how to use my phone or my tablet, and I want to be confident that I'm managing it in a good way. So often that's a really key one. And someone will come for 4 or 6 weeks or even a couple of months and by the end they feel pretty good using their phone. They're like, yeah, now I get it. And we don't just talk about operating the device, we talk about also how the digital world works. So, what is cellular data and how is it different from Wi-Fi? Or what do I have to be what kind of security should I put on my phone? Or how do you do updates? How do you do the settings for notifications so that it dings when you want it to ding, or it's quiet when you need it to be quiet? So there's all kinds of things you can get into with a specific device. I've had some seniors come in who are suddenly, facing big life changes. People have lost their partners, for example, and if their partner was the person who looked after the budget and the bills, suddenly they're left with figuring out how to do that. And a lot of times that involves using a computer. So I've had a few learners come in who their goal has been to learn how to use the computer to keep track of their household finances and part-time work. Also had seniors come in who are wanting to do part-time work. But that also involves a lot of digital skills now. Just in order to see your schedule sometimes, or see your pay stub, you have to know how to log into the human resources website. So it's been really rewarding to see people, learn how to do their business in a good way that works for them. And that if they have to use technology for it, they're not intimidated by it. Then, of course, there's a lot of the personal or family life stuff, like managing your photo collections. A lot of times, like if you're just taking pictures on your phone, you run out of storage space and you don't know why. And then you're trying to transfer pictures from your phone or your tablet onto another device like your computer, or just trying to save them somewhere. So things like managing photos have suddenly become an issue for people because there's a lot of different technology being used, and it's not always explained when you start out, and then it can get complicated. Um, Home entertainment is another one. There's lots of options now if you have Wi-Fi at home for streaming things, either for free or with paid options. So we can help people figure that out. It's a little tricky because we're in a classroom, so we can, some of the stuff you have to do on your own, but we can actually at least explain the concepts and help people decide what they want or what they need, and what's reasonable and how to set it up. And of course, social and community connections, not just during the pandemic, but nowadays a lot of families are communicating through social media and with video calls and, lots of things across distances and lots of community groups. If you volunteer, of course, it's still important to be in person as much as you can, but a lot of the communication happens through email or with video meetings. And so being able to participate in those without being worried or stressed about it can be a really good bunch of skills to have. So these are all examples of real life things that we help people do, and we're happy to help people do them. Like Dan said, we're free and we're eager to have more people join our programs and feel like they're feeling confident with how to operate in the world as it keeps changing.
And in addition to that, one thing I don't know that I highlighted is that it's something where you can start anytime too. Like all throughout the year, like we're always taking enrollment. So don't ever feel like it's like, oh, okay, it's gotta be like the back to school in a sense in September or January or that type of thing. Like we have people come in at any old point during the year and we'll start setting things up. And generally when you come in, it's not okay, let's wait several weeks and then we'll be able, like it's usually like within the week you're going to be starting the classes right away. So we're pretty quick to turn that around and help you start achieving whatever goals you might have at that point.
Yeah, good point, Dan. Thank you. The one way we do follow the normal school year is during the summer. We have a summer break for July and August, but other than that, we're year round and people start and stop at, when it works for them. So if anyone has more questions or you're curious about anything that we've talked about, please feel free to let us know. And this is our contact information if you'd like to get in touch with us. So you can see there's Dan's, he's our program director. That's his email. And my email is just computer@tblg for Thunder Bay Literacy Group.org. Of course, you can call the office. This is our office phone number. And we do have a website and we're on Facebook. If you are already an online person, you can find us there. But please spread the word and please come and check us out. As Dan said, we're really committed to helping people with whatever their literacy needs are. And so we're ready for you. Please come.